I am live and you found me. I can't believe it. You all are so good. All right, let's get this set up. I am so sorry I'm late. Crazy morning. I can't believe it. How did you find me? Did I post this yesterday? Was I that on top of things or what? Crazy. Thank you so much. Holy mackerel, you're good. It is Wednesday, so it is the right day. Kira, good morning. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to Coffee Time, everybody. I'm Deanna with Ribbon Candy Hooking. It's a lively morning. Great to see you. Crystal, coffee's percolating. Crystal, I don't think you were on yesterday, but I was telling everybody I found this beautiful sweater that popped up in my Facebook feed, and it reminded me of you so much. I'm going to have to send you a link to it. It was definitely not your size. It was only in like quite big sizes, like more my size than Crystal size, but I got it because it reminded me of you so much. Wait till you see it. Beverly, good morning. Great to see you. Happy coffee time. Linda, happy coffee time. Good day in New Jersey. Good day in Connecticut too. Beautiful sunny day here. Weather is just right. Janice, good to see you. It is a good day. Joy, good morning in Florida. And Kirsten, good morning in Vermont. Susan, Kansas, you're enjoying working on the witches. Oh, isn't that great? Isn't that a great pattern? That's one of the Nancy Thomas patterns, and that is so good. Mom is on in sunny Granby, finally. I know it, right? Penny, good to see you in South Carolina. Everybody's on. Anita, great to see you. Happy coffee time. Ooh, I see the conversation happening. That makes me happy. I'm catching up. Doreen, great to see you. Carrie, great to see you from Tampa Bay. Currently working on mug rugs for Christmas and using a new hook that you ordered from an Etsy shop. That'll certainly become a favorite. Isn't that so nice when you find a hook that will become a favorite? I have to say, I'm never an advocate of buying a lot of expensive junk that you might not like, but lately, I think I've mentioned I've been using a Hartman hook, and it's quite heavy. It's quite weighted, the hook part of it. And at the end of the day, the hook that you're using, the one thing that it needs to be is comfortable in your hand, right? If it feels right in your hand, whether it's a $10 hook or an $80 hook, the thing is it comfortable in your hand? And if it is, you hold with that hook, at least for a while, right? And as I was saying this weekend, when I was at the fair, somebody sort of stumbled along who was a hooker in the past, and then it stopped. And she's, we were talking about supplies and stuff, and she was talking about her hand and arthritis and pain. And I said, one of the first things to check if you end up having hand pain or arm pain or elbow or wrist or whatever is your hook, because changing out your hook, sometimes a change is as good as a rest, right? That's an Agatha Christie quote. But it's often true. And just changing your hook or just swapping it out for something else, whether it's punch needle, gives your hand a different activity, a different sort of posture, a different position. And the chance of having relief is much higher in that case. It's fun to find a new hook. It really is. And the sad thing is, with rug hooking being very low on the totem pole as arts and crafts go these days, we don't have a lot of rug hooking stores around at this moment. I would love to have one, as you know. I'm thinking about it and moving toward that. But one of the great things about having a rug hooking store near you is that you can go and try the hook. You can hold it in your hand, bring your piece, pull a few loops, see if it feels like it's an extension of your arm, which is ideally what you want, isn't it? But interesting. It's so nice. Let us know how the new hook goes. And April, good morning. M.E. Shelley, good morning. Still raining in Asheville, North Carolina. Oh, but you got to pull out some of your favorite old sweaters. It's a nice time of year for that, isn't it? I was over, I have to admit, I'm not much of a shopping person, but I was over at TJ Maxx like last weekend because I needed an eyelash curler, which has become a metaphor for my daughter Jocelyn, because we went for the eyelash curler, which I truly felt I needed. And we filled up the shopping cart with just crazy stuff. Such nice clothes, for not that much. And she picked out some stuff and picked out some lip gloss for her, and we picked out some Halloween-y stuff. And we came up to the register, and she told everybody with ears, which was pretty much everybody, that we came in for an eyelash curler. And it was a great joke. And we're going back today. Different TJ Maxx today. She's home from school sick because she had a very sore throat last night and this morning, and I'm being very cautious. So she's home, but she seems to be bouncing back rather quickly. And she said, can we go to TJ Maxx later? Also to check out the great jewelry situation. You know how they have all this Betty Johnson jewelry, Betsy Johnson Halloween stuff. And she would like to pick out some more earrings, even though she's got the one piercing still. She would still like to do some shopping for some earrings, which I said, why not? I'll wear the mate to yours. We'll see how it goes. And good to see you. Oh, and I wanted to tell you, and I wanted to tell everybody in, I feel like I'm going to need my bag. I'm going to have to spring up in a second. Yeah, I need my bag. Everybody in New Hampshire, I set a date at the, what is it called? Woolen, I think it's White Mountains Woolen Magic. It's one of the author groups. I think it's number 52 in New Hampshire. I'll be speaking there at the beginning of December on the Alice Butler rugs. And I printed the picture today to show you the newly discovered Alice Butler rug. So I'll spring up in a second and see if I can reach my computer bag there, because I want you to see the newly discovered one that Rob, the nephew, found that was done collaboration between Alice Butler and her son Vic, right? This is one of our favorite subjects to go back to. But I will be doing the first talk, I'm sure there'll be many, but the first talk on the Alice Butler rugs, and I'll be doing that at that White Mountain Guild. If I can reach my phone at the same time, I'll tell you the date in early December. So that'll be a lot of fun. Tad, good to see you. And yes, yes, we need to get together, and I need to plan that. It's square peg, circle hole with everything right now. But that's a huge yes. Barbara, great to see you. I still haven't opened those magazines. I promise I will tonight. I promise. I want to get them distributed too. Tara, great to see you. I've been thinking about you. Anita says she bought the Chatelaine magazine yesterday. Very good article. It is a good article, isn't it? It's a great article. So Kira's talking about bingo, not this coming Friday, but the following Friday. And the theme will be, Kira, like fall, autumn, Halloween, all of these like lively seasonal festive things. So I haven't been completely reading every comment, but I'm thinking that Kira's saying, please send your rugs that fit into that category of fall, Halloween, this time of year would be really helpful. And Penny's asking which Etsy store, and I'm curious too, because I'd like to look too. And hello to Kay, great to see you in Klamath Falls. Fantastic, welcome. Kathy, welcome, good to see you. Judith, welcome, great to see you in Virginia. Well, hello everybody. To chat for 1 second, I want to spring up and show you that Alice Butler rug, because it was such a big deal. It's such a big deal to show for the first time. God, I hope it's in my computer bag. A rug that we've never seen before, that nobody's ever seen before, that the family found. Give me a split second. See if I can put my hands on that fasty fast. And yes, I can. Holy mackerel. Holy mackerel. So let's see. Sorry about that. Been running around doing a lot of school stuff with Ted and having a lot of conversations / fights, and everything is right down to the second. So the Alice Butler rugs, and I'm sure you remember we covered it for quite a few days during a coffee time, looked at that beautiful book on the Alice Butler hooked rugs, and then we capped it off with a very, for me it was emotional, just because I love these family stories of families within working together, like the son and mother, and just the scope of their work. Their work covered like 3 decades working together on these completely original rugs, but the amount of thought that went into each rug and the amount of planning, and usually together, was so touching and such a unique story. It really got to me. It got to a lot of us, because I know that many of you bought that Alice Butler book. Okay, good. So this is, first I'll show you the drawing for it first. So this is Alice and Vic's drawing with the colors that she pulled, or he pulled for it. And Kira, put down the address that you want people to send rugs for. I'm sure she'll do it right. We can send her all our fall rugs. And then this is the rug itself. And of course, I don't have the best lighting at this moment, but you can see it's quite similar to this. One of these later rugs, right? Well, I don't want to say later, because she was doing rugs in the early 80s. mostly on her own at that point, because remember, Vic would leave her materials and colors out so that, she could, or a stencil, he was doing templates for her. But this looks like one that he probably generated the design, very mid-century feel to it. There were many of the rugs that had a sort of planetary landscape, right? A sort of fantasy, almost sci-fi landscape, and very different, very different. And I'm just excited that I'm holding the image of the Alice Butler rug that nobody but us has seen other than the family to this point. So that is just exciting. And I can see that they signed it with the VH for Victor and Alice. 77. This one is dated 77. Remember, they had a code for marking their rugs, so it was clear what sort of combo of person worked on it, and sometimes Alice alone. And then I think she just did the B for Butler. But yeah, this is a Victor and Alice, and more on that. But I'm super excited that that date is coming up in New Hampshire, because I'm putting together a very nice presentation. And I think I'm even going to be bold and ask Rob, the nephew, if it's possible to borrow a rug to look at in person for that event. So we'll see how that goes. That should be on the Ribbon Candy Hooking calendar very soon. Some of you like that. It's definitely, it's different and it's far out. It's not for everybody, but it is part of this collection of unique rugs that need to be treasured and documented a lot better than they have been within the rug hooking world. Not just because of the story that goes along with it, but because the rugs are so different and unique and ran parallel to rugs that were, this was the era of using pretty much only commercial patterns. And they ran so, they did so much in that span of time, but running so parallel to all of these commercial sort of Pearl McGowan era rugs that were coming out, and did completely different designs on their own. And I just think it's a remarkable body of work. So it's something that's worth celebrating again and again. Judith says, I'm making a sugar skull pillow. I found an old burlap pillow cover in super condition, fiddly to get the hoop into it, but so far so good. Yeah, all these fiddly moments, right, when you're working with stuff, whether it's hoops or hooks or punches or whatever, and you always hope that your hands and your tools will work for you, and you hope that that'll happen sooner rather than later, but sometimes it's later. And the thing is, when you're experimenting with different mediums or different materials, different supplies, it's really important to remember the sooner, later, sometimes it's later thing, because I think in this day and age, and I am the worst, I'm the most guilty, you expect things to be sooner, right? You always do. You want information, you want it now, you want a full college course, but you want it in 15 seconds on YouTube. And Judith, I know you're not one of these people. I'm one of these people. But I just always remind people who are starting new projects or new mediums, going to ignore that phone. I am so sorry. Let me grab that. I'm a disaster today. That's probably the school. Anyway, it's great to just give it a second. Hoops work great. And I'll just remind you, when you're rug hooking, when you're punching, hoops work less great because they rarely make your backing material tight enough, right? But I'll remind you that great hack, right, that my mother told me. I know it's not like a new thing and you probably already know, but I didn't. That great hack of getting adhesive gauze from CVS or your pharmacy. It's that gauze for, injuries that only sticks to itself. And when you wrap that around the bottom hoop and then put your other hoop over it with your backing piece, it is so much tighter than you can get a hoop if you're just using a hoop with backing material. Monk's cloth is cotton and it can slip and it wants to slip and it does slip. But when you have that adhesive gauze around that bottom hoop, man, it's tough to make it slip at that point. Bottom hoop. Do I mean bottom hoop or do I mean top hoop? I think I mean top hoop. I mean tot. Do I mean bottom hoop? Help me out here. I am so scattered today. So it looks like Carrie says she bought her hook from Irish Hook Designs. Sells them to, okay, both are on Etsy. So Irish Hook or Designs in Wool, both sell them. But it sounds like Carrie, the Designs in Wool is a little less expensive on Etsy. That's great info. So Alice Butler Rug, I want to show you a bunch of things today. I put up a new pattern this morning. It's an expensive one because it's enormous. It's big for me. So it's a Halloween theme. It's a Magdalena Briner EB theme, and it's a 36 base, right? It's 36 inches across. I'm going to just quickly show you the design because it's on there, and I haven't done anything with color or thinking about it yet. But it's basically, I mentioned it yesterday, it is the, I hope you can see that, it is the classic Magdalena lollipop tree, but with jack-o'-lanterns. This is why it needs to be big, right? And then around the edge, I have all kinds of her characters, like the duck is dressed up as a mermaid, a sheep is dressed up as a pumpkin, that's a chicken dressed up as a clown with clown shoes, and he's going to have a rainbow wig. Over here is a another chicken or sort of rooster dressed up as a butterfly. You can see the upside down cow as a princess. Got a Viking sheep here. I have the Viking kind of boobs on it. I don't know if that's inappropriate. You can always remove that. Look like the armor plates, And then the horse witch with striped stockings. I changed the mariachi cat because I changed his face to be 2 dots. I thought this looked a bit offensive and ethnic, so I removed that and just did dots. I just wasn't sure. Hammerhead cat, dressed up as a hammerhead shark, right? It's a little cat. And this is, I think, my favorite, Bride of Frankenstein dog. But again, these are all silhouettes that Magdalena, who is out of copyright, used in her rugs, and I just dressed them up in costumes, Halloween costumes. I started hooking one of them. Let's see if I can find it. Here we go. Here it is. I started hooking one of them this morning in between all the craziness. I started hooking the sheep wearing the pumpkin, and this is what he looks like. I mean, I'm nowhere near done, but you can see I gotta find more of the orange I ran out of. It's a sheep wearing a pumpkin costume. These are going to be available individually too, much bigger like this. So these are great for beginners. They can come kitted. And I'm not finished yet, but I've got a little pumpkin cap for him, like a little beret, and I'm going to have a stump sticking out of it. In the background, you probably can't see, but it's this over-dyed gray with lots of dots and stuff. But yeah, all of the animals will come separately as individuals, so you don't have to do the giant lollipop tree, which I think of as Ray Bradbury's Halloween tree, if you've read that book. But I love the idea of it. Magdalena always put her animals upside down, right side up, backwards, forwards, just to fit them in like jigsaw pieces around a lollipop tree. That was one of her great devices. So I wanted to do that, but I wanted to create the impression that they were sort of at a Halloween party, in the woods under the jack-o'-lantern tree instead, and they all had their various costumes on. So it was a lot of fun to plan, and I do plan to hook this really large, the size that I'm selling it. It is an expensive pattern, and I hate putting out expensive patterns because I want everything to be accessible to everybody who wants it. So that's part of the reason I'm offering all of these also as much smaller patterns and kits. If you like just 1 or 2 characters and you want to make them smaller for your holiday decor, I love him too. I was very happy with him. I'm doing Bride of Frankenstein next. So we are already getting there. What else did I want to show you? I wanted to do a couple, very scattered this morning because of all of the meetings, but I have, since we've been so busy lately, 2 rugs arrived in the mail, and I haven't even opened them yet. So I was going to open them here, and let's look at them together. There are so many rugs on eBay right now, and Etsy, and on online auctions. The thing about those online auctions, right, like not just Sotheby's and Skinner's and Pook and Pook and those, but just the general auction ninja. The thing about those, and I'll warn you again, because I know when if we're doing the show and I mention this, that people will go look. Just be careful if you're bidding on those online auctions, because sometimes the rugs, there's tons of hooked rugs, seem like a very good price. You have to look at the part of the auction where it says buyer's premium, because the buyer's premium can be another 30% that you need to pay on top of the cost of the rug. And then you really need to find out about shipping if it's not someplace where you can go pick it up, because that could be staggering. And this has happened to me where I buy a rug that I think, how much could it possibly be? It was such a great buy. When they add that buyer's premium onto the auction and then they add the shipping, we're looking at, I could have bought a rug off Sotheby's at that point. So, when you buy things like that and they turn out to be much more money than you thought, you get sad and regretful and sorry. So make sure that you check all those things. But there are so many online. These two, I think, well, one of them I got off eBay. This one I definitely got off eBay. I haven't even looked at it yet. Let's look at it together. Still good, still good. Let's see. I should have taken it out right away. I always like to take rugs out right away just in case there are any moths on them. It was super irresponsible for me not to do that because you never know. But this one's fine. So this is quite pretty. This is a good hearth rug size. Let me see if I can back up a bit. Okay, so I see it goes more like this. Yeah, this one definitely was on eBay. And I absolutely love it. We'll look at it in more detail. But I guess I fell in love with the colors. It has that sort of chinoiserie feel, right? Like that moment of imitating specifically Chinese art. But I absolutely loved the colors, and I still love it. We'll look at it more closely. Ooh, and you can see some fading, or else maybe, I don't know, getting stepped on a lot on the sides. It's in pretty good shape. There's not really a bad issue with anything here. It's pretty good. Oh, you know what? It is actually a color change from here to here. So there is a border within the border. That's not fading. Yeah, that's definitely a color change. But you can see the material that was hooked is really a some kind of a herringbone or something. Real pretty, isn't it? Really pretty. Very nice condition. I'm real pleased with this one. Let's look at it on the other side and see what we can see. So this is definitely wool strips. This looks like a number 5 or 6 to me. It's not more than that, but it's certainly not yarn. You can see some of their ends are underneath, which is fine. You know, some people do that traditionally. I always tell beginners better to bring your ends up, right, to the surface and clip them to the height of the pile. If only because you don't want to accidentally yank them out with your hand while you're working underneath it. But this is the back of it. That is really a good piece. I see that they have used yarn in some places, and why not? This area here looks like yarn to me. This looks like yarn too. Also this. So it looks like a nice combo. What a beautiful rug, huh? I forget how much this was. I've been burnt so many times with rugs that are not fantastic. Yeah, buyer's remorse and all that stuff. But I have a feeling, I can check back, but I have a feeling this one was something like, I want to say 50 to 70, that kind of thing. And for that, there's, you know, one of these flowers is chenille for sure. This one here is much softer than wool, sorry, this one, or cotton. Yeah, I'm real happy with that. That is a nice looking rug. Oh, it has one hole. Let me see. One little hole, but that's all right. We can deal with that. It's right here where looks like the leg of a chair or something was on it. It's not a bad one, but yeah, there's something here that's a bit of a vulnerability. I'll have to be real careful about that and patch that up as quickly as I can. The red is still so alive and vibrant. It is. And you know, it's like, who knows where these things were stored? Maybe it looks like it was used because it was patted down. It also looks like somebody washed it or wet it at some point. If you can see here, there's a tiny bit of bleeding. Tiny bit. Which makes me think maybe somebody tried to wash it, or maybe they were doing something silly with it. But yeah, there are a couple vulnerable areas. This is certainly on burlap, as you would expect for something that's older. This is so good that I think I will probably put some patches behind it immediately. Remember Judy Taylor's group on Facebook. You know, great author that we talk about often. She has a page that's specifically on Facebook about restoration and rugs, and she is so forthcoming with help and information. It is a great place. Thank you, Linda. I love that one. It is a great place to go for help when you are going to do some little jobs like this, or even large jobs. People on that page are posting some very large jobs and sort of the progress along the way. And it's interesting to see, you know, we're at a point now with repair that there are good ways and there are bad ways. There are fast ways and there are good ways, right? So there's not a lot of wiggle room and there's not a lot of gray area. But at the same time, there is often more than one way that are still good ways. So it's interesting to see what people use and how they go about it. Any idea of how it was hooked? Definitely with a hook. There's no way on earth that was shuttle punched. I would bet my life on it. So that would leave any kind of punching tool, and that would just bring us back to a hook. So I would say, I mean, it's hard to say the age of it. I'm guessing it's 1930s because of the design. It's a 1920s design, which makes me think it's a 1930s rug. It could be a 1940s rug, but I mean, it could be, because of course in rural areas, design and fashion take a little bit longer to catch up. So it could be a 1940s rug, but I'd be more likely to say 20s, 30s. Possible early 40s rug, but at that point, people were doing designs that were a bit more of the promo gown. You weren't getting these sort of one-sided rugs. It's a strange rug. It's a hearth rug dimension being long and thin, but it's one way. So I'm not sure. It might have been that they had it on the wall always and out of the sun. It looks like the loops are somewhat pressed, but not like completely trodden upon. It could be that it was taken off the floor quickly for whatever reason. But in any case, lots of mysteries and a lot of sort of anomalies in my mind about this particular rug, because the design is very Art Deco. And it's not an exceptionally old rug. There's no way it's a 19th century rug. But at the same time, it's hard. It'd be easier to say what tool they used if I could really pinpoint the date or if it was dated. But I'm going to absolutely eliminate the punch or the shuttle hook, which leaves us with some kind of a hook, because the strips are so wide that it wouldn't be impossible to use a punch on, but it would be so fiddly and frustrating and difficult to keep re-threading each of those loops again and again and again and again. I'd be super surprised if anybody could maintain that kind of dedication on a rug this size, because it's not a small rug. But to be continued. Ursula, in a very large work, you start with the details or with the back. Oh, in terms of that, no, that's a great comment, Ursula. Absolutely, in terms of how is it hooked chronologically, that's a great comment. I'm sorry, I took it to mean with what implement, but absolutely. I mean, if it were me, and this is always an up for grabs too. This is a moving target answer, because for each person starting a rug hooking project, particularly if you're a beginner, there are all different kinds of people. There are the puzzle makers who always want to do the border first and get that set. And then there are the people who always want to do the center first and move outward. When you're working on a huge, for example, chetty camp or floor frame, you sometimes want to go from one side to the other, because this craft doesn't work like needlepoint, and there will be no repercussions if you do the work out of order. There will be no diagonal stretch, right? You can do it in any order you want, in any way you want, that physically makes sense for you. I tend to be the kind of a person who I go for the color I like the most and start with that color. So everybody starts differently, but certainly in a design like this, when there are so many lines, it's not a bad idea to do the outlining first. And at least if you, for example, the outlining can be boring, right? Outlining can be quite boring. So if I was working on this design myself, I would be very tempted to outline one thing, fill it in, outline the next thing, fill that in. So I wasn't just sitting there with the outlining color, in this case black, and doing outline, outline, outline. I would get terribly bored and frustrated with that quickly. So I tend to outline and then fill in as I go, just so I have that variety for my eyes to see, to keep me engaged and interested, But everybody works differently, and it's so nice to know how everybody works. Oh, Nada, good to see you. We're looking at some rugs that came in recently that I haven't even opened yet. And this one is rolled up backwards, so I should have opened this one up sooner. This one came about a week ago. Now, this one I found on Facebook Marketplace. So I know not everybody likes Facebook, but that is a great place to locally find rugs. This one was shipped, as you can see, as many were. Oh, boy, this is going to be a good one. But, for however you feel about Marketplace, and Facebook in general, don't even start with the news of this week, right? But I have found a lot of wonderful rugs that way, and this certainly is one of them. So let's unroll. You're welcome. I mean, you got to help me with this. Let me see, and let me back the camera up. Let's see if, sorry, don't want to make you motion sick and seasick there. This is an amazing rug, right? Let me see how much you can see. It's a cat. It's a very sort of, I'm sure it's not an Edward Sands Frost pattern, right? It couldn't possibly be. It could possibly be, but I don't know that it is. I don't recognize the pattern. So if you do, let me know. Let me see what you're looking at the same time. So really detailed cat. And I could not pass it up. This was on Facebook Marketplace. It cost, I think it cost $120, which, you know, I felt like it was worth every penny. The directional hooking on this is just fantastic and over the top. If you can see, let me make sure you're in focus, and you can see. You can see the bottom of it, she's hooked horizontally. And if you look at the top part, the background, that's a big open background, isn't it? She's hooked vertically, and it's stunning. And then, of course, the flowers have a bit of a graphic sort of bling to them. They're not, you know, overtly shaded. It's not over the top. This is a beautiful, fairly new piece. This is, I'll show you a little bit of what the back looks like. And I would love any input on whose pattern you think this is. But beautifully done, like new condition. Now here's the thing. Let's see, Van Gogh cat. Are you calling it that, Tara? Because it's like the Van Gogh colors. Let me bring you back to me. Or is that actually what it's called? Got some shenanigans today, huh? Let's see, pom-pom at the end. Oh, looks like a pom-pom at the end of the tail. See, this is what I get for not... Oh, it does. It's a bit of a fluff tail. And man, look at this face. Look at these great eyes. Isn't that amazing? So, so this is the thing about this rug. It says, I think this is the date here, 87, right? That must be 87. It's big. So I think this was about 120, and I was absolutely fine paying that. That was a very good price for this, I think. I just couldn't pass it up. I'm guessing it's a commercial pattern. All the same, it's so different, right? It's hooked in such a wild and different way. It's obviously a very specific cat. So here's the thing. There's a name on it, and I wonder if anybody has any leads with this name. Margaret, is it Margaret Miller? Yeah, Margaret Miller. And it looks like this was sewn on, it looks like a dryer sheet, but I'm guessing it's a piece of interfacing, right? Like one-way sew-on interfacing. And she's just put her name on it there. So I'm wondering if any of you, let me show you a close-up of this background material too, if I can get it in focus. Let me try again. Not wanting to focus, but you can see it's quite tweedy. Yeah, it's just extraordinary. The centers of the flowers have different tweeds too. Let me show you that too. Sorry. Keep detecting new things that I think are interesting. You see how there are different tweeds in the centers of the flowers? Isn't that amazing? It's a very good rug. Very nice rug. Oh, and this leaf has some good tweediness going on too. Found a lead on Google. Kira, did you? Is it, you know, is it the person in Florida, I wonder? Because I saw something that pulled up Florida, and I think the rug was shipped from Florida, if this is the same lead. You know, Margaret Miller is a name that isn't completely rare, right? So it's been hard for me to figure it out, but I would love to know more about the maker of this, because I think this is an extraordinary rug. Rarely can you get away with doing a rug like this with such a huge empty background, right? And the reason she could, and the reason it worked, particularly with such a neutral color with no variation, no marble cake, nothing embedded in the hooking. Oh, Kira, you did find something. Margaret Miller Bio, OHCH, Ontario. Interesting. Oh, I'm going to have to check that out. I'm going to have to follow up on that too. Interesting. It certainly was shipped within the U.S., but that doesn't mean anything, does it? The reason she could get away with doing such an open background is because it was so well weighted on the bottom, right? The bottom really anchored that dark, tweedy ground that the cat is sitting on, this enormous cat with all of these flowers built up like bookends on both sides of the cat, really weighted the composition down. Now, you could equally have gone Van Gogh and crazy in the sky, but you don't have to, because it's so rooted, right? It's so well rooted as a composition that it works great. It's so good to look at different kinds of compositions, because if I were looking at that on the canvas or on a backing and looking at hooking it, I would first be thinking to myself, there's an imbalance here because there's too much happening in the bottom half, but it turns out I would have been terribly wrong if I'd started hooking craziness in the sky or in the background, because your eye really needs a break with this many different tweeds and this much fabric. You want to really keep the focus, the main character, to be the cat, right? So I think she did perfectly with her choices, and there is a very thin border of yellow right around it, but I think this is just extraordinary. Talk about directional hooking, right? Absolutely beautiful. So always get to keep your eyes peeled for these extraordinary rugs that turn up now and then. And who knows why, but who knows why the last person let it go, but I am very happy to have it. And I'll be having it hanging up always, so you'll be seeing it too. We can all enjoy it together, but keep your eyes open for these great things. Background is incredible. It really is. Oh, okay, her email is listed on this site. You know, it might be the same person that I found too, because the person that I found was a teacher. So maybe I will follow up and ask her if this is a piece of hers, but what if she wants it back? Teacher since 2005, started hooking in 98. Can't be her though, because the rug is 84. I mean, it could be her, but the rug definitely said 84. Interesting. To be continued, right? And Crystal says, it says she started rug hooking in 98, right? Yeah, the rug said 84. We are all great Sherlock Holmes detectives here, right? Well, I will be the Watson, and you will be the Sherlock Holmes in this case. But it's fun to research these things. To be continued on that. But in any case, we will do. I don't know what we'll do tomorrow. We'll probably look at a book tomorrow. I've got so many things to do. It's crazy. I didn't want to rush through stuff today, and I feel like I did. I'm going to be sending this out soon too. I haven't finished it yet, but the Prati. I'm sure I showed this, the class that's coming up in Madison, Connecticut, that I'll be giving, and I'm also giving it as an online class. I'll be sending these kits out, the Prati pilgrim hat with this background. Everything is hand-dyed. I dyed everything in this, and it's a great opportunity to do kind of a sampler in the flower faces, right, the centers of the flowers, different kinds of work. As a sampler, if you are advanced, if you are a beginner, it's going to be fun just to hook this very simply. The background does itself, right, because it's colored. I colored it. It's all modeled. And, of course, the kit and the class is going to come with dozens of these leaves that are pre-cut. So they are pre-cut with my cutter, right? All different sizes, all different types of leaves. It's a very fun project for November. So that should be on the website, too, with a bunch of other things. Oh, the new swatch set is out there. The new swatch set is out there. Last thing I wanted to show you for today. That's the thing. That's the one. The new swatch set is out. It's what I showed you earlier. I picked 25 colors of those colors. It's called Monster Mash. It is the current swatch set. I'm not doing an unlimited amount of it, so make sure that if you love it, that you get it. Because the busyness right now is overwhelming me. But the pattern that comes with it, I'm going to give you a clue as to what that looks like right now, because I wrote in the description that the pattern that comes with it is going to be a larger fiber tape, right? On fiber tape transfer, you get a free mystery pattern with the swatch set. I do this every time I send out a swatch set, so that you have something that if you want to start using those colors, you have something to work on. So it comes on fiber tape. It's a much larger one. I forget what I said, but I think it's at least 15 across. Sometimes I make small mug rug sizes. This one's big. And this one, just to give you an idea of what the mystery thing is, and the first person who gets the swatch set, you should post it because it's not a mystery anymore. But it's going to be a very traditional looking rug with a sort of Halloween spooky motif, because these are spooky swatches. And I decided while I was awake in the middle of the night agonizing about school problems with Teddy, I remembered back to these two vases that they painted when they were little peanuts and we were living in Amsterdam. And we had a Halloween party for Joss around the same time as we just did this past week. And I had my friend cut out all these urns, right, that are this size, cut them out with the jigsaw in the backyard. And I spray painted them black with a stencil of these two characters on them, right? One of them is like the Bride of Frankenstein, and the other is the witch, right? I made a stencil and I spray painted it, and then when the kids sat down, because they were such little peanuts, I'd also spray painted all these different beans in different sizes, right? Kidney beans, little eating beans, but all dried beans. Spray painted them, and then they glued them on with their parents. And over time, it's been a while, it's been a few years, and we've made a continental move. but the beans are starting to fall off, so I'm gluing them back. But I decided that in the center of the mystery pattern for the swatches this month, I'm going to have one of the two, and I'll write you first. In the center, it's going to be a very traditional pattern, right? That looks almost like a scroll type pattern with an oval center with a silhouette in the middle. And the silhouette will either be like this witch or the Bride of Frankenstein. So if you order, I will ask you which silhouette you want. Of course, you can always override it or not use it. And in the corners where there would be rosettes and flowers, there's going to be like floral corners, but the center flower, which looks big and fat, is going to have 8 legs, if you see what I mean. So there'll be like spiders in the 4 corners. But at first glance, it looks like a real 1920s type rug with a silhouette in the center and floral corners, right? So it's going to be another one of these designs that trick the eye. Is there still a space in the Madison class? Definitely. I think she just put it up, Kathleen, like a few days ago. So it's on Madison Wool. It's on her other classes page. And yeah, I'm sure there's a space in there because it's a brand new listing. Carrie says, oh, I wish you were teaching in February in the Punta Gorda. Yeah, me too. Me too. Put a request in. Put a request in for ribbon candy hooking, and it'll be me who shows up. I would love to. I'm starting to get invited to more stuff, but of course the company happened quickly, and during 2020 it happened very quickly. And I'm sure many people feel I came in the back door using this newfangled technology, like doing videos with you here. So the invitations are coming slowly, but they are coming. And I would love to have more exciting ones. But I am very excited about the teaching date, talking about the Alice Butler rugs in December. Let me give you that date since I got my phone, at the Rug Cooking Guild in New Hampshire. That is going to fall on, early, December 4th, Saturday, December 4th. That is the New Hampshire White Mountain Woolen Magic Guild, I think number 52 at the chapter. And hopefully I have something physical to bring, but it'll be a beautiful presentation on the Alice Butler rugs. So I hope that you're there. In any case, I will see you all tomorrow. When is the next Frida Zoom? Thank you for reminding me, Catherine. It is Thursday night, tomorrow night. So the last Frida class that I'm doing, Designing Like Frida Kahlo, is tomorrow night between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That maybe is in the description of this video. I have to update the description because I posted it 1 second before I came live. I'll fix that, but it's also on the Ribbon Candy Hooking site. If you just search Frida, the class tomorrow night is the last Frida class that I'm doing for the foreseeable future. And then we are looking at naming the artist for the next month of our Design Like series. Thank you for reminding me. It was a great class last week. It was a great class. And it will be a great class again this week. So don't miss it. It's also recorded. If you want to jump in, you can always watch it at a later date and then use all the designs and all the stuff that comes with the class. That once I draw it and I send it to you, it is yours at that point. It is not my drawing. It is yours once I send it, and it is for you to use and design however you want with it. It makes no difference to me. The whole thing is to learn and to get better at designing like the specific artists that we look at from month to month. So good. So, hey, I will see you. I think I'm caught up with comments. I will see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday. Tomorrow is Thursday. Tomorrow is our Zoom day. Is tomorrow Thursday, Steph?
Yes.
Oh my God, tomorrow's Thursday. Tomorrow's our Zoom day. So I will be with you for Zoom tomorrow. I am sorry. I will Zoom tomorrow starting at noon Eastern Standard Time, and I will put the Zoom information into this video onto the Facebook group. But I will be on Zoom tomorrow. If you have questions or you just want to hang out and hook together, I will be here tomorrow for you on Zoom at noon. We'll be together then. I will see you then. Otherwise, I hopefully will see you on Friday at cocktail night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right? Either tomorrow or Friday. Hope to see you soon. Have a great. How do you find out more about that class? I'm going to post a link here, but I'll answer this question. Carol, I didn't know you were on. Good to see you. Sharon, good to see you. Same link. No, I'll send a different link, Sharon. The Frida Kahlo class, like all of these classes, it's designing like. So I will send you, if you're signed up for the class, I send you a bunch of papers that will be exercises and games that we played during class to help you. Each game is different, very different, and they're all different from class to class. Come up with some compositions that are in the style of Frida Kahlo, using her motifs, using the sort of tropes and elements that she went to again and again and again in her painting. We talk a little bit about her life, but you will end up with between 6 and 10 compositions that you can either use the way they are or refine and change, use this sort of germ of the idea, and you should end up with quite a lot of compositions that are in the style of Frida Kahlo for you to be able to transfer onto backing and do your own hooking with original compositions in her style. So it works like that. I send you a bunch of papers that you print before the class if you want to, or you can watch the class and then do it later. But it's a 2-hour class, and it's filled with information and exercises that will get you not only thinking but sketching. And that's the important part, is to just get going, making contact with that paper and with the pencil to just get going. So thank you, Mom. Thumbs up. I will post that link here, and I will post it in the Facebook group, and I will hopefully see you at Zoom tomorrow, and otherwise cocktail night on Friday night. Have a great day, everybody.